the Obama administration opens the jail cells, releasing tens of thousands of illegals, many of them violent criminals. The latest from the IRS email bombshell, and you won't believe what Susan Rice has said about Benghazi. But first, my open. Imagine you're a son or daughter. You raise them, you love them and protect them, and they volunteer to fight for us. And yet when they come home, they are left to die by the very country to which they gave so much. President Barack Obama's Veterans Administration, one of our largest federal agencies, is not only ineffective, it is broken. And more than that, it is a hotbed of corruption. And so goes yet another Obama administration scandal. Not a potential scandal, a full-blown scandal. They are shunted aside, placed on bogus lists, veterans left to die while waiting to see a doctor in VA hospitals, while the hospital officials pocket bonuses alleging that they reduce the patient wait times. Fact, the VA budget, $153.8 billion, has increased disproportionately above and beyond the increase in the number of veterans. Fact, every day, 22 veterans, men and women, kill themselves, many of them seeking VA help, which never comes. For the last 5 years, official reports show VA schedulers are not following policy. Electronic wait lists purposely omit the names of those who died. Fact, the names of at least 17 and up to 40 veterans who died were put on a fake list in Phoenix. Fact, whistleblowers nationwide confirm that the VA deaths connected to a refusal to even schedule an appointment have occurred. And this week, VA Secretary General Eric Shinseki had the unmitigated gall to tell senators he was advised to not provide information that would compromise yet another inquiry. Really? How many inquiries do we need, General, before you provide information or even do something? So forget oversight. Why not just take the fifth, like that learned Lois Lerner? And in case you didn't catch this one,
any adverse incident like this makes me mad as hell.
Really looks mad, doesn't he? An adverse incident? You call veterans facing certain death refuse medical care by VA personnel who then create false records so that they can pocket a bonus. An adverse incident? It's not an adverse incident, General. It's a homicide, a criminally negligent homicide. And oh, that political preparation.
And what I've committed to is whatever comes out of this, whatever is substantiated, actions will be taken. We will take actions.
I don't believe you. You've known for years. You don't take actions. The IG reports that you sign off on Government Accountability Office reports. The veterans told you, the press told you, everyone told you what was going on. So who's been fired? Who's been demoted? After more than 50 Inspector General reports. Why haven't you asked the hard questions? Why are you still even there? Or might this be another page from the Obama circle the wagons, delay, deny, and lie playbook? And General, you show no emotion. You don't apologize. You don't share the anguish and the anxiety of veterans and their families, veterans who were literally on a death watch because your staffers hid their names. Your staffers closed out 1.5 million cases after 90 days without any resolution or explanation. And General, you call yourself a war hero? War heroes don't leave men to die. And I don't care if you're the most decorated man in military history. You are leaving men and women to die. General Douglas MacArthur stated, "Old soldiers never die. They just fade away." Shinseki, it's time for you to fade away. And you're not the only one. Our revered Chief Law Enforcement Officer, in over his head, Attorney General Eric Holder, of course, has no plans, and that's a quote, to investigate the secret waiting lists and the veterans' deaths at the VA hospitals. No surprise there. So how about we bring in James Comey and the FBI? This is criminal. Reports are some hospitals are shredding documents. The evidence needs to be preserved. Witnesses need to be spoken to. Time is of the essence. They allege reduced wait time to pocket bonuses. They're gaming the system. They're cooking the books. There is an ongoing scheme to defraud the American people, while those to whom we owe a solemn obligation are left waiting to die. This is gross mismanagement. This is an organized criminal enterprise consisting of fraud, the creation of false records, conspiracy, larceny, obstruction, and yes, criminally negligent homicide. And am I the only one who's had it up to here with the politicking? Listen to one Democratic senator from the hearings this week.
Is it possible that in some cases, unrealistic expectations have created a situation where some staff is in fact cooking the books?
Wow, he should be a defense attorney. He's giving them an excuse to cook the books. Mr. President, your Secretary Shinseki actually said this before the Senate.
If any allegations are true, they're completely unacceptable.
Unacceptable? Huh? Where have I heard that one before?
As I said last night, it is just simply unacceptable.
The suffering and bloodshed is outrageous, and it is unacceptable.
It's simply unacceptable. It's simply unacceptable.
Well, obviously, these reports, if they're true, are unacceptable.
I have an idea. You're all unacceptable. And for a little window dressing, Mr. President, for years you send out First Lady Michelle and Dr. Jill Biden, quote, ambassadors to the military families. Quote, they made it their priority to support military families. They were listening to their concerns. Really? Maybe they should stop listening and start acting. Or maybe they just weren't listening at all. And by the way, Mr. President, wasn't Michelle a hospital administrator in Chicago? Here's the bottom line, Mr. President. Your administration is the most lawless in American history. After 5 years, nothing surprises me. I'm not shocked, but I am heartbroken. Our veterans have already sacrificed and suffered, and you continually disrespect them. I take it personally because my dad and granddad were veterans. You leave men in Benghazi to die. You force the Veterans Memorial to close. You reduce veterans' benefits. And you actually refuse burial expenses during this sequester. You don't even want to bury the soldiers who died for us. And thank God for people like the Fishers and the Fisher House Foundation. And I don't want to hear about lessons learned or we've got another wake-up call. This alarm has been ringing throughout your administration. They answered your call. It's time, Mr. President, that you answered theirs.